Imagine a world in which old redwoods claw the heavens, deserts roast under unrelenting sunlight, and ocean waves create masterpieces out of cliffs. Welcome to California, a place of extremes, paradoxes, and unlimited opportunity. With 39 million people, this is the most populous state in America. If it were a nation, its GDP would place 5th worldwide. Still, numbers hardly really cover the ground. Here, the gold rush produced billionaires overnight. Hollywood taught us to dream in Technicolor, and Silicon Valley reinterpreted the future. But the vistas of California really have beauty. With a vertical drama of 14,494 feet inside 85 miles, this is the only U.S. state having both the lowest and highest contiguous points. From the air, it appears to be a patchwork of extremes. Grapeyards that produce 81% of the country's wine, neon-lit towns, and glacier-capped volcanoes. But look farther. Coastal highways reveal secrets. Surfers surfing Malibu's silky curls, elephant seals screeching on Piedras Blancas, and fog swallowing the entire Golden Gate Bridge. While Death Valley's dunes transform into living sculptures under stars so bright that they cast shadows. The granite temples of the Sierra Nevada protect sapphire lakes to the east. Still, California is more than just picturesque scenery. Indigenous tribes upholding 10,000-year-old traditions, Spanish missions hinting at colonial ambitions, and a modern mosaic of 200-plus languages taught in Los Angeles schools. A cultural alchemy. This is the birthplace of the iPhone, the internet, and the avocado toast craze. A place where inventiveness and reinventions pulse across every gorge and shoreline. Nonetheless, California is more than just picturesque scenery. Indigenous tribes preserving 10,000-year-old customs, Spanish missions hinting at colonial ambitions, and a modern mosaic of 200-plus languages taught in Los Angeles schools. A cultural alchemy. This is the birthplace of the iPhone, the internet, and the avocado toast craze, where inventiveness and reinventions pulsate across every gorge and shoreline. It began as a glint in a creek, a fleck of gold hardly larger than a fingernail. James Marshall, a carpenter, found at Sutter's Mill in 1848, sparking a passion that would change the continent. 300,000 49ers arrived in California a year ago, desperate and scuttling through riverbeds with pans. Men abandoned their families. Ships rotted in San Francisco Bay as sailors fled for the hills, and boomtowns like Bodie appeared overnight, only to become ghost towns when the veins ran dry. The gold rush was more than just a chapter. It was California's Big Bang, bringing $700 billion, in today's money, into the economy and establishing the myth of the American West. However, the history of this site is considerably longer. For millennia, the Miwok, Chumash, and Yokuts tribes thrived here, creating elaborate basket weave art and transferring obsidian over mountain passes long before miners arrived. The Spanish then arrived, putting out 21 missions like chess pieces along El Camino Real. Every March, swallows returned to Mission San Juan Capistrano, a beautiful echo of Father Junipero Serra's contentious legacy that included architectural miracles, forced labor, and cultural erasure. By 1821, Mexico had claimed California, leaving behind traces in rodeos and ranchos. However, in 1846, a motley crew of American immigrants organized the Bear Flag Revolt in Sonoma, declaring independence with a flag made of a flour sack and berry juice. Their insurrection lasted 25 days before the U.S. troops came. But California's flag, a homemade bear, continues to flutter. Now stroll around these settings and listen for the layers. Wooden boardwalks creak in Old Sacramento beneath saloons where Mark Twain once drank. Down south, Olvera Street, Los Angeles' oldest street, is alive with mariachi music and the smells of fresh tamales. The adobe walls California was pure fantasy, coming from a 16th century Spanish novel about a fabled island of warrior women. Even the state's name contains ghosts. Until explorers plotted it on maps, California's DNA has been changed by numerous reinventions, including indigenous governments, Spanish invasions, Mexican ranchos, and American statehood. People come here to gamble on new identities and let their pasts fade away. What happens when the gold runs out? You keep investigating, you turn around, and as we'll discover next, California's greatest treasures are etched into its very bones rather than buried beneath the ground. Imagine waking up inside a tree, not within one, not a metaphor. The 2,200-year-old immortal tree has weathered lightning strikes. Larger sculpted valleys like Yosemite appear to be God's own artistic workshop. While Half Dome's form has become synonymous with unrivaled beauty, El Capitan's 3,000-foot granite wall draws rock climbers like moths to a flame. But the actual magic happens at dawn, when tunnel view captures the valley in a flood of alpenglow, a nearly perfect moment, almost dropped by Ansel Adams with his camera. Fly higher. The mountains reveal mysteries. Mount Whitney's summit, at 14,505 feet, has air so thin that stars shine at noon. The alkaline plains of Owens Valley reflect the sky, giving the impression that you are walking on clouds. But California's waterworks steal the show. McWay Falls in Big Sur plunges 80 feet into a turquoise lagoon, a marriage of mountain and ocean unlike any other on Earth. Lake Tahoe's cobalt depths hold enough water to flood California knee-deep. Nonetheless, the beauty is delicate. The Sierra Nevada snowpack, known as California's frozen reservoir, feeds rivers that serve 23 million people. Yet it is rapidly diminishing due to climate change. Meanwhile, the Sierra Nevada bighorn sheep, whose numbers have plummeted to less than 600, cling to rock faces. The covenant here is conservation, not a buzzword. From the searing inferno of Death Valley to the foggy Redwood cathedrals, California's landscapes offer a master class in contrasts. However, the state's genius extends beyond the woods. As we will see later, its cities are human ambition labs where dreams are made, destroyed, and rebuilt taller than any Sequoia. Imagine if one street could influence world perceptions, aspirations, and connections. It does 2 times in California. Walking Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood can help you follow the footsteps of Chaplin, Hepburn, and Tarantino as studio lots release works redefining culture. Travel 350 miles north to Sand Hill Road of Palo Alto, and you will pass modest businesses where venture capitalists spend billions on software that rewire human behavior. Cities that create their own urban alchemy instead of merely reflecting the zeitgeist are what California is. The last shapeshifter is Los Angeles, a vast mosaic of 88 cities. One area over from the tourist bustle of the Walk of Fame lies Koreatown's 24-hour spas, Boyle Heights Chicano murals, and Sawtelle's sushi temples run by elderly chefs. The actual brilliance of Los Angeles? This is a factory of reinventions, where a taco truck starts a gastronomic revolution, a garage transforms into a tech unicorn, and a waiter takes on acting. San Francisco's Victorian painted ladies, meanwhile, conceal a technical heartbeat. In just 20 years, the Bay Area produced $387 billion businesses ranging from Airbnb to Uber. But California's metropolitan charm goes beyond technology and celluloid. The Gaslamp Quarter in San Diego combines artisan breweries driving America's IPA obsession with Prohibition-era speakeasies. Farm to table is a 150-year-old practice rather than a trend in Sacramento. Chefs find ingredients from the countless orchards in the Central Valley. Even Fresno, sometimes disregarded, hides the neon-lit jazz venues in the Tower District where Central Valley grapes become award-winning wines presented with Armenian flatbreads. Still, no city captures California's dualism as San Francisco does. Painted international orange to cut through fog, the Golden Gate Bridge arcs towards a skyline where artificial intelligence startups sit next to cable cars from the past. Sea lions bark at Fisherman's Wharf as though mocking the tech bros debating blockchain across the street. Here, last year, a single zip code, 94105, received $23 billion in venture capital, enough to purchase 12 tropical islands. But the urban stories of California are not all gold rush glitter. The state owns the greatest homeless population in the country, a catastrophe imprinted in Los Angeles' Skid Row tents, and San Francisco's Tenderloin area resilience pulses in solutions, though. Oakland's community land trusts fight gentrification, while San Jose's prefab tiny homes provide dignity to thousands. From Hollywood's myth-making to Silicon Valley's coding, California's cities are drivers of world change. Beyond the metropolitan gloss, though, is a quieter truth. The essence of the state is sometimes discovered where the pavement finishes. All set to exchange switchbacks for skyscrapers? Let's travel, where desert mirages and coastal cliffs highlight California's most extreme paradoxes. There's a stretch of Highway 1 where the ocean doesn't just meet the shore, it argues with it. Waves slam into cliffs, salt spray mists your windshield, and the road clings to the continent like a daredevil on a tightrope. This is California's 840-mile coastline, a drama of erosion and resilience where every curve reveals a new mood. Tranquil coves, kelp forests teeming with sea otters, and beaches where fog rolls in like a phantom tide. Begin in the north, where Humboldt County's lost coast remains untamed. No highways, no cell towers, just 24 miles of raw shoreline accessible only by foot or kayak. Here, tidal pools glitter with neon anemones, and black bears pad across beaches littered with shipwreck relics. Drop south to Mendocino, a village perched on bluffs so windswept, locals joke they've perfected the sideways rain hairstyle. Yet it's Big Sur that steals hearts, where Bixby Creek Bridge arcs over a chasm, and purple lupines frame vistas so cinematic, Hitchcock filmed Vertigo here just to capture the dizzying beauty. California's coast is a living museum. At Pismo Beach, you can dig for clams with a shovel at dawn, then watch bioluminescent waves glow blue by night. In La Jolla, sea lions claim sunbathing rocks with operatic bravado, while surfers at Huntington Beach, dubbed Surf City, USA, chase waves first ridden by Duke Kahanamoku in 1925. But the real magic hides in plain sight. Venice Beach's graffiti-lined boardwalk, where muscle builders flex beside fortune tellers. Santa Cruz's vintage roller coaster, rattling above the same pier Steinbeck immortalized in Cannery Row. This shoreline also holds whispers of reinvention. At Hearst Castle, media mogul William Randolph Hearst built a 165-room palace filled with stolen European art. A monument to ambition as wild as the coastline itself. Meanwhile, the Channel Islands, nicknamed North America's Galapagos, shelter 145 species found nowhere else, including dwarf foxes no larger than house cats. Yet the Pacific giveth and taketh away. Coastal towns like Pacifica watch cliffs crumble into the sea, losing homes to storms amplified by climate change. In response, engineers deploy living shorelines, oyster reefs and marsh grasses, to battle erosion with nature's own tools. Even the iconic Highway 1, washed out yearly by landslides, is a lesson in stubbornness. Californians keep rebuilding, as if daring the ocean to try harder. From fog-drenched redwood groves to Malibu's celebrity-studded sands, this coast is a Rorschach test of dreams. But as we'll soon discover, California's soul splits like a river delta, and its next act lies inland, where deserts bloom with secrets and silence rings louder than any wave. Step into a land where the air shimmers like a hallucination, and rainbows bloom from cracked earth. California's deserts aren't dead zones. They're stages for nature's most daring performances. Start in Death Valley, where the mercury once hit 134 degrees Fahrenheit, the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth. Here, at Badwater Basin, salt flats stretch 200 square miles, a blinding white chessboard where sailing stones mysteriously slide across the playa, leaving trails like ghostly fingerprints. But come spring, this inferno softens. Super blooms explode in confetti bursts of gold poppies and purple phacelia, transforming the valley into a Monet painting overnight. 2 hours south, Joshua Tree National Park feels like a Salvador Dali dream. Groves of twisted Joshua trees, spiky Dr. Seuss-like sentinels, stand guard over boulder piles balanced like Jenga towers. Climbers scale Hidden Valley's granite domes, while stargazers flock to Keys View, where the Milky Way arcs over the Coachella Valley's neon glow. But the real magic? Tiny pupfish, no longer than your thumb, dart through 110-degree Fahrenheit springs, survivors of an ancient lake that vanished millennia ago. This desert pulses with human stories, too. In the 1960s, U2's The Joshua Tree album cover was shot here. But today, it's Instagram influencers and UFO chasers drawn to Integratron, a wooden dome built by a former NASA engineer claiming it harnesses acoustic energy. Nearby, Pioneer Town's dusty streets, once a Wild West movie set, now host hipster honky-tonks serving prickly pear margaritas. Yet the Cahuilla people, who've thrived here for 3,000 years, still roast mesquite beans in clay pits, their songs echoing through palm oases. Venture deeper, and the desert reveals its quirks. The Salton Sea, an accidental lake born from a 1905 engineering blunder, became a 1950s Riviera for speedboat races and Sinatra concerts. Now, its shores littered with fish bones and abandoned motels feel apocalyptic, until you spot thousands of snow geese rising in a thunderous cloud at dawn. Further north, the Trona Pinnacle's 500 limestone spires, used as a backdrop for Star Trek and Planet of the Apes, jut from the Mojave like fossilized skyscrapers. But survival here demands innovation. Engineers test Mars rovers in Death Valley's Mars-like terrain, while conservationists race to save the desert tortoise, whose burrows double as shelters for rattlesnakes and kit foxes. Even the Joshua Tree, threatened by climate change, may soon join the endangered species list. As the sun dips below the Chocolate Mountains, painting the sand in lavender streaks, one truth emerges. California's deserts are anything but empty. They're alive with grit, oddity, and a stark beauty that sears itself into your bones. And just beyond these sun-baked plains lies another California, one where water defies the desert and valleys burst with life in a different kind of gold rush. Drive through California's Central Valley at dawn, and you'll witness a miracle. 18-wheelers rumble alongside fields bursting with almonds, tomatoes, and peaches, their cargo destined for grocery stores 3,000 miles away. This 450-mile stretch of flat earth, dubbed America's Salad Bowl, produces over a third of the country's vegetables and two-thirds of its fruits and nuts. But here's the twist. This agricultural empire thrives in a region with rainfall comparable to the Sahara. Welcome to California's greatest magic trick, turning dust into abundance. Start in Fresno County, the nation's top agricultural producer, where rows of pistachio trees stretch to horizons blurred by heat haze. Giant harvesting machines shake almonds into conveyor belts, while migrant workers, many descendants of Dust Bowl refugees, hand-pick delicate table grapes under a searing sun. This valley feeds millions, but it runs on water borrowed from ancient glaciers. The Sierra Nevada's snowmelt snakes through a labyrinth of canals, including the 700-mile California Aqueduct, a concrete river so vital it's guarded like Fort Knox. Innovation here isn't optional, it's survival. In Gilroy, garlic capital of the world, farmers use GPS-guided tractors to plant cloves with surgical precision. Near Bakersfield, drones buzz over strawberry fields, scanning for thirsty plants, while solar-powered sensors measure soil moisture down to the teaspoon. Yet tradition persists. Fourth-generation Japanese-American farmers in Livingston still grow the sweetest peaches using pruning techniques from 19th century samurai orchards. But the valley's true wealth lies in its people. At 3 a.m. in Stockton's produce terminals, Hmong farmers auction heirloom bok choy grown from seeds carried in their grandparents' pockets fleeing Laos. In Delano, the ghost of Cesar Chavez lingers in the United Farm Workers headquarters, where faded protest signs from the 1965 grape strike remind visitors that every strawberry has a story. The challenges? Biblical. Droughts evaporate reservoirs into cracked mudflats. Heat waves fry $40 million worth of almonds in days. Yet farmers adapt, planting drought-resistant quinoa, flooding fields to replenish aquifers, even growing rice in recycled sewage water. Meanwhile, Tulare County's udderless cows, robot milkers that serve 180 cows hourly, hint at a sci-fi future where farms run on algorithms. From the misty lettuce fields of Salinas to the honeybee apiaries of Modesto, this valley is a living paradox, a place of backbreaking labor and cutting-edge tech, of water wars and multicultural feasts. But as we'll discover next, California's genius isn't just in growing food, it's in fermenting, roasting, and reinventing it. The state's culinary revolution awaits, and it's serving more than avocado toast. Picture this: a taco truck parked beside a Michelin-starred restaurant, both serving lines that stretch around the block. In California, food isn't sustenance, it's a revolution. This is where a sushi roll sparked a global craze. Thank you, LA's California roll. Where farm workers' lunches became foodie obsessions. Look up molcajete salsa. And where a single avocado can ignite a generational feud over toast toppings. Welcome to the culinary frontier, where every bite tells a story of migration, innovation, and downright delicious rebellion. Start in Los Angeles' Grand Central Market, a 1917 food hall where Oaxacan mole simmers next to Thai coconut curry and a 28-day dry-aged burger. LA's 10,000 food trucks, more than any US city, are the ultimate equalizers. Korean BBQ tacos, Filipino sisig burritos, and vegan sushi made from marinated watermelon. But the real game changer? Chef Roy Choi, who parked his Kogi truck in 2008 and accidentally invented the modern fusion food movement. Head north to San Francisco's Ferry Building, where sourdough bread, born from gold rush miners' wild yeast, is still baked in brick ovens dating to 1852. At Zuni Cafe, chefs shatter the myth of California cuisine as just kale salads, serving roast chicken atop bread soaked in mission fig and Sierra Nevada olive oil. Meanwhile, Berkeley's Chez Panisse, founded by Alice Waters in 1971, turned farm to table from a hippie slogan into a global mantra. But California's culinary genius thrives in its contradictions. In San Diego, the California burrito stuffs carne asada, fries, and cheese into a tortilla, a messy homage to surf culture. In the Central Valley, Punjabi immigrants mix cumin-spiced aloo gobi with local peaches, creating a dish you'll find nowhere in India. Even wine gets reinvented. Paso Robles' Tablas Creek blends French Rhone grapes with arid California soil, winning over Bordeaux purists. This fusion extends beyond flavor. At Oakland's Brown Sugar Kitchen, chef Tanya Holland melds collard greens with brioche waffles, reclaiming soul food through a California lens. In Santa Barbara, sea urchin divers, pescadores descended from 19th century Italian immigrants, supply sushi bars worldwide, their harvests timed to lunar cycles. Yet challenges simmer beneath the sizzle. Droughts force Napa winemakers to dry farm vines, while wildfires infuse grapes with smoky notes. Some call it climate terroir. Meanwhile, labor activists fight for fair wages for the undocumented workers who pick 85% of the state's produce. We'll see next. Its creativity isn't confined to kitchens. Beyond the plate lies a world of art, rebellion, and cultural alchemy, where murals shout louder than any chef. In a San Francisco park in 1967, 100,000 people dropped acid, swapped clothes, and vowed to reject everything their parents built. The Summer of Love wasn't just a party. It was California's declaration that culture could be hacked, remixed, and reborn. Today, that same restless spirit thrives in graffiti-covered alleys, virtual reality studios, and TikTok collectives. California doesn't follow trends, it detonates them. Start in North Beach, San Francisco's Beat Generation epicenter. At City Lights Bookstore, Allen Ginsberg first howled his poem Howl in 1955. sparking an obscenity trial that redefined free speech. Nearby, Vesuvio Cafe still serves Irish coffee to poets and anarchists, their notebooks filled with dreams of a world unshackled. But cross the Bay Bridge to Oakland, and you'll find murals of Black Panthers beside augmented reality art that leaps off walls when viewed through a phone. Los Angeles Arts District tells a grittier tale. Once a wasteland of abandoned factories, it's now a canvas for street artists like Shepard Fairey, whose Obey murals loom over converted lofts. At Hauser and Worth Gallery, a 1930s flour mill houses Yayoi Kusama's Infinity Rooms. But wander east, and you'll hit Boyle Heights self-help graphics, where Chicano artists have screen-printed Day of the Dead posters since 1970, resisting gentrification one line a cut at a time. Yet California's cultural pulse isn't just analog. In Silicon Valley, engineers code AI that generates New Yorker-style cartoons, while Instagram's headquarters doubles as a digital art incubator. At Coachella, the intersection of tech and spectacle peaks. Drones form shifting constellations above crowds, and AR filters turn desert dust into psychedelic swirls. Even Burning Man, born on Baker Beach in 1986, is now a sand-blown lab for immersive art, where a 40-foot steel octopus shoots fire from its tentacles, and attendees barter with NFTs. But rebellion simmers beneath the polish. In Joshua Tree, off-grid artists live in shipping containers, crafting sculptures from salvaged satellite dishes. In Fresno, the Tower District's DIY punk venues host bands screaming lyrics in Hmong and Spanish. Meanwhile, San Diego's Border X Brewing merges craft beer with Mexican folklore, their cans adorned with Aztec gods, a liquid protest against walls and division. The contradictions are the point. At the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, you can touch a 1960s mainframe, then step outside to see a Tesla drive itself. In Hollywood, the same studios that once blacklisted writers for being too red now fund films about Marxist revolutionaries. California's true export isn't movies or microchips. It's the audacity to reimagine reality. But as our journey nears its end, we're left wondering, can this land of infinite reinvention sustain its magic in the face of fires, droughts, and division? The answer lies not in its gold, groves, or gigabytes, but in the people who refuse to stop dreaming louder than the Pacific roars. As the sun dips below the Golden Gate, painting the Pacific in molten gold, California whispers a promise. There's always more. More peaks to climb, more waves to ride, more dreams to code into reality. We've wandered redwood cathedrals, tasted fusion feasts, and traced the scars of gold rushes. But this state refuses to be pinned down. It's a shapeshifter, forever outrunning its own myth. From Spanish missions to server farms, California has always been a verb, not a noun, a relentless act of becoming. It's the Miwok grinding acorns where tech billionaires now sip lattes. It's surfers and AI engineers chasing the same elusive perfection. It's the Central Valley's soil, stubbornly birthing abundance from dust, and Death Valley's dunes, rewriting themselves with every gust. Here, even the land is in beta mode. But California's true engine is its people. The farm worker teaching her daughter to prune vines with ancestral care. The refugee launching a food truck empire from a single recipe. The firefighter battling infernos worsened by a warming world. They know the stakes. Droughts parch, wildfires rage, and inequality gapes like the San Andreas Fault. Yet this is where the future gets road-tested. In solar farms rising from fallow fields, in AI predicting quakes before they strike, in classrooms where 65 languages weave a living tapestry,